As we told you earlier, state police are investigating a fatal train car crash today in Stewart's Draft. 2 women in the car died in the accident. The driver, 82-year-old Alice Butler, died on the way to the hospital. Her daughter was the passenger, 60-year-old Glenda Faye Poore, who died on impact. State police say the car went around the downed arms of the railroad crossing sign and tried to beat the train. Police believe the railroad crossing signs were working properly. And joining us now to discuss railroad crossing safety is Sergeant Mike Rossetti of the Virginia State Police. And by phone is Melvin Jones of Operation Lifesaver, a railroad safety organization. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Yes, Bob.
Sergeant Rossetti, what more can you tell us about today's fatal accident?
Well, in regards to the fatal accident, Bob, it's a tragedy that occurred, and our hearts go out to the family. The accident is still under investigation at this time.
Now, Mr. Jones, how common is it, you're with Operation Lifesaver, a organization that works to improve railroad crossing safety, how common is it for people to go around crossing arms?
Well, first let me extend my condolences to the families of the victims. And tragically, in the United States, approximately every 2 hours, a person or a vehicle is struck by a train somewhere.
And is it more common than we might think for people to try to skirt those arms?
It actually is more common than one might think, and sadly, even statistics show that many people do try to beat the train, more so in the daytime than at night.
Really? Sergeant, I assume it is illegal to go around those crossing arms.
That is correct, Bob. No person shall disobey a clearly visible or an audible crossing signal that gives an indication that a train is approaching a railroad crossing.
This was your first, you worked this wreck, Sergeant Rossetti, your first train car wreck?
That is correct, Bob. A trooper investigated the train accident, and the first one that I've come across.
What was, emotionally, what was it like for you working this accident?
Very unfortunate and tragic accident.
Mr. Jones, you're a retired police officer. What's been your experience with train car crashes?
Well, unfortunately, in my 30 years, I had too many, and certainly every single one is one too many.
Now, there's, I guess, a couple of scenarios, Sergeant Rossetti, that people can come across. One, today's situation where you've got a flashing lights and you've got the crossing arms. There's also the situation available, I believe, at some crossings, and you can back me up on this or correct me, Mr. Jones, that you've got not the crossing arms, but you've got the flashing lights available there for drivers, right?
That's correct. The same rules still apply.
Okay, so I guess if the lights are flashing, again, once they start flashing, you got to stop, even though you may say, boy, that train's a half-mile away. I'm going to go ahead and zip across.
That is correct, Bob. Any electrical or mechanical device that gives a signal in reference to a railroad crossing, the motorist shall stop.
Now, what about the third option? I guess some locations, probably more rural or even maybe private roads, have crossings with no gates or lights, just maybe a sign that says there's a railroad there. I assume they have stop signs, but I guess what do you suggest there, Sergeant Rossetti?
Yes, Bob. A person that approaches a railroad crossing with no devices such as gates or lights, the motorist shall stop, look and listen, and then please proceed safely over the railroad crossing.
And something folks may not know about, I understand school bus drivers are required nationwide to stop when they approach railroad crossings?
Yes, sir.
So you may be wondering, why is this? Because most people, of course, unless the lights are flashing, they don't stop, but they're required to stop regardless.
That is correct. Stop, look, and listen.
Now, what can you say, that I guess, other than the obvious, to people who may be in a rush, and I guess that's probably the only reason people would have done what happened today, to our potential, to the viewers out there, Sergeant?
Please be safe while approaching railroad crossings.
Okay. How big of a problem do you think this is in the Valley, Sergeant?
Well, as far as a problem, I mean, these accidents occur, and they occur very quickly. But if the motorist just adhere to the indicators at the railroad crossing, the lights and the gates are down, please be cautious and proceed safely.
All right. Sergeant Rossetti with Virginia State Police and Melvin Jones of Operation Lifesaver, thanks both for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bob.
And now let's send it to Mel.